America, the land of opportunity, the beacon of hope, a place where dreams are made and futures are built. We've been told this story for generations. It's a tale of success, hard work, and endless possibilities. But today, that story feels different. The optimism has faded, replaced by uncertainty and fear. A shadow hangs over the American dream. The economy is shaky, people are worried, and for good reason. The signs are everywhere. We're on the brink of a financial earthquake. The tremors are already being felt. Think back to 2008. The housing bubble burst. Millions lost their homes. It was a time of despair. The economy went into a tailspin. Businesses shuttered, jobs vanished, and hope seemed lost. Now, imagine that, but worse, much worse. That's what we're facing. A crisis of unprecedented scale. It's not a question of if anymore, but when. The countdown has begun. The warning signs are flashing red. Danger is imminent. Inflation is eating away at our paychecks. Every dollar buys less and less. The stock market is a roller coaster. Volatility is the new normal. Debt is piling up at an alarming rate. Households are drowning in it. And the people in charge, they seem out of touch. They're either clueless or worse, complicit. Their actions or lack thereof speak volumes. This isn't just about numbers on a screen. It's about real people, real lives, families struggling to put food on the table. The basic necessities are becoming luxuries, seniors losing their life savings. Their golden years are tarnished by financial strain. Young people wondering if they'll ever catch a break. Their future seems bleak. The American dream is slipping away, and with it, the hope of a better tomorrow. Everywhere you look, there are cracks in the system. Remember those too big to fail banks from 2008? They're even bigger now, and they're playing the same dangerous games with our money. The national debt is a ticking time bomb. It's already bigger than our entire economy, and it's growing every single day. How long can this go on? How long can we keep borrowing from our future? Inflation is another sign that the system is rigged. Prices are going up on everything. Gas, groceries, housing, you name it. Your hard-earned dollars just don't go as far as they used to. Meanwhile, the rich are getting richer. CEOs are raking in record profits while workers' wages stagnate. The gap between the haves and the have-nots is wider than ever. Something is fundamentally broken. The powers that be want you to believe this is just another bump in the road. They'll tell you the economy is strong. They'll point to a few positive numbers and tell you everything is fine. Don't believe them. This isn't just another recession. This is a systemic failure. The very foundations of our financial system are rotten to the core. We're living on borrowed time, and the longer we ignore the problem, the worse it's going to be. Remember the dot-com bubble? The subprime mortgage crisis? These weren't isolated incidents. They were symptoms of a deeper disease, a disease of greed, corruption, and reckless speculation, and that disease is still spreading. This isn't just about economics, it's about our future, our children's future. The choices we make today will determine what kind of world we leave behind. Will it be a world of opportunity and prosperity, or a world of economic chaos and social unrest? The stakes couldn't be higher. We need to wake up and demand better. We need to hold our leaders accountable. And we need to start building a new system. A system that works for everyone, not just the wealthy few. It's time to face the truth. The American dream is under attack, and the only way to save it is to fight back. Join us as we expose the lies, challenge the status quo, and demand a better future for all Americans. We've all seen the headlines. The Dow Jones soars to record highs. Tech stocks are through the roof. It's a bull market, they say. Don't worry, be happy. But what goes up must come down. And this time, the fall could be catastrophic. The stock market is a casino, a rigged casino. Wall Street gamblers are playing with your money, your retirement savings, your children's future. They make risky bets chasing quick profits. And when the house of cards collapses, you're left holding the bag. Remember the dot-com bubble? Companies with no profits, no products, just hype. Investors poured in billions. Then the bubble burst. Trillions vanished overnight. We're on the verge of another bubble. Maybe bigger, maybe worse. Here's a scary number, over $31 trillion. That's the US national debt. It's more than our entire economy produces in a year. It's unsustainable, it's irresponsible, and it's a threat to our future. Imagine a credit card with a $31 trillion balance, and it's growing every single day. That's what we're dealing with. We're borrowing from China, Japan, even ourselves, just to keep the lights on. Who's going to pay for this? Our children? Our grandchildren? They'll be saddled with this debt for generations. It's a ticking time bomb. And when it explodes, it will take our economy down with it. Remember when a dollar could actually buy something? Those days are long gone. Thanks to inflation, your money is worth less every day. Prices are soaring on everything: gas, groceries, housing. It's getting harder and harder to make ends meet. The government tells us inflation is under control. They're lying. They manipulate the numbers to make things look better than they are. But you feel it every time you go to the grocery store, every time you fill up your gas tank. Inflation is a silent thief, stealing your hard-earned money right out of your pocket. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. It's a famous quote, and it's never been more true than when it comes to financial crises. We've seen this movie before, and the ending is never pretty. The Great Depression, the 1987 stock market crash, the dot-com bubble, the 2008 financial crisis. Each crisis was different, but they all shared one thing in common: excessive debt, speculation, and a lack of regulation. Are we any smarter this time around? Have we learned from our mistakes? Or are we doomed to repeat the same cycle of boom and bust? The warning signs are flashing. The alarm bells are ringing. The question is, are we listening? Remember history class? Dust Bowl, breadlines, mass unemployment. That wasn't ancient history. That was the Great Depression. And it could happen again. In fact, the parallels to today are downright eerie. Back then, it was the roaring 20s, a booming stock market, unbridled speculation. Sound familiar? People thought it would last forever. They were wrong. The crash of 1929 wiped out fortunes, the economy collapsed, and millions were left in poverty. Today, we see the same signs. A soaring stock market fueled by cheap money and risky bets. A widening gap between the rich and the poor. A government drowning in debt. Are we on the verge of another Great Depression? The warning signs are impossible to ignore. Fast forward to 2008, another financial crisis, another round of bailouts, another lost decade for the middle class. Remember the subprime mortgage meltdown? Wall Street got rich, Main Street got played. They called it a once-in-a-lifetime crisis, a perfect storm. But it was no accident. It was the result of years of deregulation, of letting Wall Street write its own rules, of turning a blind eye to greed and recklessness. The banks got away with murder. They got bailed out with taxpayer money. And what did we get? Austerity, unemployment, a decade of stagnant wages. Have we learned our lesson, or are we doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past? Or is it? Comparing past crises to the present, pundits and politicians love to say, this time it's different. The economy is stronger, the fundamentals are sound. Don't worry, they say, but every crisis is different, until it's not. Sure, there are differences between 1929, 2008, and today, but the similarities are what should scare you. Rampant speculation, easy money, a financial system built on debt. These are the ingredients for disaster. History may not repeat itself exactly, but it often rhymes. And right now, the rhythm is getting very familiar. We're seeing the same patterns, the same warning signs. It's time to stop pretending this time it's different and start preparing for the storm. Remember the recovery after 2008? The stock market rebounded. Corporate profits soared. But for most Americans, it never felt like a recovery at all. Wages stagnated. Jobs disappeared. The middle class got hollowed out. It was a recovery for the rich by the rich. The Federal Reserve pumped trillions of dollars into the financial system, but that money never trickled down. It went straight to Wall Street, inflating asset bubbles and widening the wealth gap. Meanwhile, the underlying problems never got fixed. The debt kept piling up. The financial system remained fragile and rigged. We were told the economy was strong, but it was built on a foundation of sand, and that foundation is about to crumble. Remember the canaries in the coal mine? They warned miners of danger. Today, the canaries are dropping dead all around us. But are we paying attention? The housing market is on fire. Prices are soaring to unsustainable levels. Sound familiar? It's 2008 all over again. Only this time it's not just mortgages. It's student loans, auto loans, credit card debt. The whole system is leveraged to the hilt. And then there's crypto, a speculative frenzy fueled by hype and easy money. Fortunes made and lost overnight. It's a casino on steroids. And when it crashes, it will take a lot of unsuspecting investors down with it. These are just a few of the warning signs. The canaries are dropping. The alarm bells are ringing. The question is, will we listen? The Great Reset button. What comes after the crash? Buckle up, America. Because when this house of cards collapses, it's not going back to normal. The powers that be, the ones who rigged the game in the first place, they have a plan. They call it the Great Reset. But for regular folks like us, it looks a lot more like the Great Takeover. They'll tell you it's about building back better, creating a more equitable system. Don't believe the hype. This is about grabbing even more power and control. They want to replace the current financial system, one they already control, with something far more insidious. Remember when they bailed out the banks in 2008? They said it was necessary to save the economy, but they used that crisis to consolidate their power, to make the system even more rigged in their favor. Now, they're preparing to do it again on a much larger scale. Forget crumpled dollar bills and clunky coins. The future of money, they tell us, is digital. Specifically, central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. Sounds harmless enough, right? Just like using your debit card, but with the government watching your every transaction. Imagine a world where every penny you spend, every dollar you save, is tracked and controlled by the government. Where they can freeze your assets, limit your spending, even dictate what you can and can't buy. That's the promise, or rather the threat, of CBDCs. They'll tell you it's about fighting crime, reducing fraud, making the system more efficient. But at what cost? Your privacy, your freedom? CBDCs are digital shackles, disguised as progress. They're not about empowering you, they're about controlling you. Here's where it gets really scary. Imagine a world where money has an expiration date, where your paycheck can be programmed to be spent only on certain goods or services, where the government can literally dictate how you spend your own money. They're calling it programmable money. And it's not science fiction, it's already being tested in China and other countries. They'll tell you it's about promoting responsible spending or achieving social goals. But it's really about social engineering on a mass scale. Want to buy a gas-guzzling SUV? Sorry, your carbon credits are maxed out. Thinking about donating to a political cause they don't like? Transaction denied. Programmable money gives them the ultimate power. The ability to control not just how much money you have, but how you're allowed to use it. They've been waging a war on cash for years. Chip readers, contactless payments, digital wallets, it's all part of the plan to phase out physical money and herd us into their digital panopticon. They'll tell you it's about convenience, security, fighting crime. But a cashless society is a surveillance state. Every transaction, every purchase, every interaction leaves a digital trail. They'll know where you are, what you buy, who you associate with. Remember the Patriot Act? The government spying on its own citizens? A cashless society makes that look like child's play. They'll have access to your entire financial history, your spending habits, even your personal beliefs, all at the touch of a button. Is that the kind of world we want to live in? The promise and peril of a new financial order. They'll paint a rosy picture of this new financial world, a world without poverty, without inequality, without financial instability, a utopian dream powered by technology and good intentions. But scratch beneath the surface, and you'll find something far more sinister. This isn't about creating a better world for everyone. It's about consolidating power in the hands of a select few. It's about controlling the masses, manipulating their behavior, and crushing any dissent. It's a dystopian nightmare, disguised as progress. The choice is ours. We can passively accept this new financial order, surrendering our freedom and autonomy, or we can fight back. We can demand transparency, accountability, and real solutions that empower individuals, not control them. The future of our financial system and our freedom hangs in the balance. Denial is not a strategy. We're all guilty of it. Sticking our heads in the sand, ignoring the warning signs, telling ourselves it can't be that bad, that it won't happen to us. But denial is a dangerous game, and in this case, it could cost us everything. We tell ourselves the economy is strong, that the stock market is a reflection of reality, that our leaders have everything under control. But deep down, we know something is wrong. We feel it in our gut. We see it in our communities. We're bombarded with messages designed to lull us into a false sense of security. Don't worry, they say. Go shopping. Take out another loan. The good times are here to stay. But the truth is, we're living on borrowed time. And the longer we ignore the problem, the worse it's going to be. Section 2. The myth of the free market. When Wall Street writes the rules, Main Street loses. They've been selling us this fairy tale for decades. The free market is the answer, they say. Less government, more freedom. Let the invisible hand guide us to prosperity. But here's the dirty little secret. The market isn't free, it's rigged. Big corporations and Wall Street banks write the rules of the game. They lobby for deregulation. They buy off politicians. They rig the system in their favor. And when it all comes crashing down, they demand bailouts with your money. They call it capitalism. But it's closer to cronyism, a system where the rich get richer and the rest of us are left fighting over the scraps. The myth of the free market is just that, a myth, and it's time we stopped believing it. Section 3. The illusion of choice. Two parties, one corporate agenda, red versus blue, Democrat versus Republican. They want us to believe we have a choice, that our votes matter. But when it comes to the big issues, the ones that really affect our lives, they're all in cahoots. Sure, they'll bicker about social issues, they'll stage their partisan battles on cable news, but behind closed doors, they're cutting deals with the same corporate lobbyists. They're passing legislation that benefits their donors, not the American people. The two-party system is a charade, an illusion of choice designed to keep us divided and distracted. While they're busy playing their political games, the real power brokers are laughing all the way to the bank. It's time to wake up and realize we're being played. Remember when the news used to hold the powerful accountable, when journalists were watchdogs, not lapdogs? Those days are long gone. Today, the mainstream media is part of the problem, not the solution. They're owned by the same corporations that control our government and our financial system. They're more interested in ratings than truth, more likely to parrot official narratives than to challenge the status quo. They'll tell you about the latest stock market rally. They'll reassure you that inflation is under control, but they won't tell you about the millions struggling to make ends meet. They won't tell you about the rigged system that benefits the few at the expense of the many. They're complicit in the con, and they're profiting from your ignorance. Section 5. The Emperor has no clothes. Time to call out the con. We've been sold a bill of goods, a pack of lies. They've convinced us that the system works, that it's the best we can hope for. But the Emperor has no clothes. The system is broken, and it's time we called out the con. They're counting on our silence, our apathy, our willingness to believe their lies. But we're not stupid. We're not blind. We see what's happening. We feel the pain, and we're not going to take it anymore. It's time to wake up and realize our power. We outnumber them, we outvote them, and we can take back our country. It starts with speaking out, sharing the truth, refusing to be silenced. The emperor has no clothes, and it's time the whole world knew it. The end game, a crossroads for America. We stand at a precipice, America, a moment of profound decision. The ground is crumbling beneath our feet, and the vultures are circling overhead, waiting for us to falter. The financial system, the very foundation of our way of life, is teetering on the brink of collapse. This isn't hyperbole, folks. It's the cold, hard truth staring us in the face. We've spent decades, generations even, building our lives on a foundation of sand, and now the tide is coming in, threatening to wash it all away. Remember those disaster movies? The ones where the hero is running from a tidal wave, desperately trying to warn everyone? That's us, right now, in real life. We see the wave. We feel the ground shaking, but too many are still sipping their lattes, oblivious to the impending doom that looms over us. This isn't just about money, though. It's about something far more significant. This is about freedom, about choice, about the very soul of our nation, the essence of what it means to be American. Are we going to let a handful of greedy elites dictate our future, shackle us with digital chains, and turn our country into a dystopian nightmare? Or are we going to stand up, fight back, and reclaim the promise of America, the land of the free and the home of the brave? The choice, my friends, is ours to make. The future is in our hands, and we must decide wisely. The power of your choice, your future. It's easy to feel powerless in the face of such overwhelming forces. The banks, the corporations, the government, the media, they seem so big, so entrenched, so invincible. But here's the thing they don't want you to know. Their power rests on a fragile foundation. Your compliance. They need you to believe their lies. They need you to stay silent. They need you to keep playing their rigged game. But what happens when we stop playing? What happens when we withdraw our consent, our energy, our money from a system that's designed to exploit us? Every dollar you spend, every vote you cast, every word you speak is a choice. A choice between perpetuating the system or building something new. Don't underestimate the power of one, my friends. History is made not by the powerful, but by the courageous actions of ordinary people who refuse to be silenced. Building ARC's community in the face of collapse. The road ahead will be long and difficult. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments when all hope seems lost. That's why it's more important than ever to build strong communities, to support each other, and to remember that we're all in this together. Remember the story of Noah's Ark? When the flood came, it wasn't just about building a boat. It was about preserving something precious, something worth saving. We need to start building our own arks. Metaphorical spaces where we can weather the coming storm and emerge stronger on the other side. Connect with your neighbors, your community, your local businesses. Support those who are fighting for a fairer, more sustainable future. Learn new skills, share resources, and rediscover the power of human connection. Because when the dust settles, it's not about how much money you have in the bank, but the strength of the bonds we forge with each other. A new dawn. Beyond the rubble, hope remains. As the sun rises, it brings with it a promise of renewal and a fresh start. It's dark right now, America. The streets are empty and the silence is deafening. The shadows are long and the storm clouds are gathering. The uncertainty is palpable and the fear is real. But even in the darkest of times, hope remains. A single ray of light can pierce through the thickest clouds. Beyond the fear, beyond the uncertainty, beyond the rubble of the old system lies the potential for something new, something better. The dawn of a new era is upon us. Imagine a world where money serves the people, not the other way around. A world where financial systems are designed to uplift, not oppress. A world where communities thrive, not on endless consumption, but on cooperation and shared prosperity. Where neighbors support each other and work together for the common good. A world where power rests not in the hands of a select few, but in the hearts and minds of every citizen. Democracy in its truest form. This is the future we must fight for. A future where every voice is heard and every individual has a stake in the outcome. A future where the American dream is no longer a distant promise, but a living reality for all. A dream that is accessible to everyone, regardless of their background. It won't be easy, but together, we can overcome the challenges ahead and build a brighter tomorrow. Through unity and collective effort, we can achieve greatness. The time for complacency is over. We must rise with the dawn and seize the opportunities before us. The time for action is now. Every moment counts, and every effort matters. Let's get to work, America. Together we can build a future filled with hope, resilience, and endless possibilities.